everyone, welcome to Relatively Refined. My name is Paula. On this channel, my sisters and I hope to offer you some gentle inspiration for cozy living. In today's video, we are going to go visit the cutest little library you've ever seen. Then we'll head home, fix ourselves a cup of tea and maybe a cookie or two, and have a lovely little book chat. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then stick around and let's get started. Well, today I'm taking you to the Timrod Library, located in Summerville, South Carolina. It is absolutely darling. It is a membership library, which means you need to purchase a membership in order to check out books. When I was a little girl, we had the Mark Skinner Library located in Manchester, Vermont, and that was a membership library and we were members there. It was begun in 1897 by a group of Summerville young women who were inspired by the Chautauqua literary movement out of Chautauqua, New York, and they got together and formed a reading circle. The group and its collection of books grew, and eventually it was chartered in 1908 as the Timrod Library. This particular building that you're seeing here was built in 1915 specifically as a library. The library itself is named for Henry Timrod, who is a Charleston writer whose poem became the state song of South Carolina. The lot that this building is built on was donated by the town of Summerville, and the women of the Timrod Literary Association fundraised until they raised enough funds to build the library. I know my kids probably have no idea what that is, but it is a card catalog. The Timrod Library is not electronic. They still have the old-fashioned card catalog with the little cardboard cards that you pull out and look up the books, and it tells you where in the library it's located. The Dewey Decimal System is laid out on that poster up there, so if you are looking for a book, you need to go into the card catalog to see if it's there. I thought this was so absolutely charming. The library itself could not be cozier. They have little pieces of artwork, sculptures, paintings. These are some book plates and postcards that are made by local artists and artisans for sale. I believe they also were selling vintage library cards, you know, the cards that are in the back of the book. They still have those. When you check out a book, they take the card out of the back of the book and sign your name to it and stamp it with a date. Absolutely adorable. Here's a basket of the vintage library cards. The library itself today houses a collection of books in excess of 12,000 volumes, which is pretty impressive for a tiny library. It includes the latest bestsellers, classics, rare books, audiobooks, and very hard to find reference materials. It has a lot of local and regional titles, books about the area, and books by authors from the area. This is the darling little children's section. So charming. Look at those beautiful windows with the valances. I love those blue and gold striped valances, or blue and white, I guess. Can't you just see some kids sitting at that table reading? They had a couple of little toys and a wonderful selection of children's books. The library is also located in the historic district of Summerville, and it is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. And here is a collection of Nancy Drew books, which started my whole love of cozy mysteries. And speaking of cozy mysteries, well, there is nothing like a good book, in my opinion, and I am always looking for book recommendations. And as I think I've mentioned before, I mostly read nonfiction and cozy mysteries. I love cozy mysteries. My love for the cozy mysteries started back as a child when I got my first Nancy Drew book, and I have loved a cozy mystery ever since, and I know my mom does as well. We both are big fans. So I've got my cup of tea, I've got a Walker shortbread, and a stack of books to talk to you about. So if you're up for that, go grab yourself a cup of tea and sit down and let's have a little old book chat, shall we? Okay, the first book that I want to review, the first three actually, are cozy mysteries, and I got them from my local library. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I returned one of them before I filmed this video. So I'm going to have to pop a picture of it up here on the screen, or over here probably on the screen for you. It's called Sweet Tea and Secrets. And it was a really fun book. It was out of the three I read, I would rate that as number 3. I would give it, on a scale of 5, a 3.75. It takes place in Hearts Cove, Maine. And the main character, or sleuth, is a girl by the name, or young woman by the name of Callie. And her profession has been international tour guide. But she has recently made the decision to leave that career and settle down in her hometown of Harts Harbor, Maine. Her great aunt Iffy runs a tea shop and bookstore there called Book Tea. And so she's decided that she's going to settle down there, take over or help run Book Tea, and plan some events. Well, the first event that she has to plan is a big 4th of July celebration. And she has to think of a theme and have all of these things to activities. There's a sweet tea contest, and there's a dancing through the ages. They're kind of doing a retrospective of Harts Harbor history, for the last 200 years. So in the course of it all, naturally, as is wont to happen in a cozy mystery, someone ends up dead. And she has to help unravel the mystery that involves, an unsolved crime from 25 or 30 years ago in the town. A famous movie star came there to summer, and she disappeared and was never heard from again, and had never been seen since. And so, that's a cold case that was never solved. And that all gets tied into the murder in present day. And it was fun. I love the setting, of course. Anything in Maine is fun. I love Maine. My family and I, when I was a little girl, we would always go to Maine, Wells Beach, Maine, to summer there for a couple of weeks, take a vacation there in our pop-up camper. And I have such fond memories of it. Now, you can never, of course, swim in the ocean there, but we did have such a fun time. So I really did enjoy that book. And as I said, I returned it, so I don't have it to show you, but I'll pop a picture of it on the screen. And who doesn't love a cozy mystery in small town coastal Maine? All right, the next one from the library is called Low Country Book Club, and it is by Susan M. Boyer. And I am just about finished with this one, and it is very good. Now, what I love about this particular book is that it takes place in Charleston, South Carolina, which is, of course, near where I live. I live just outside of Charleston. So there's a whole, I believe, series of these. It's a Liz Talbot mystery, and all of the series take place in and around the Low Country of South Carolina. And that's what this area is called because it is, of course, at or below sea level. Beautiful, beautiful area of the country. If you ever have the opportunity to visit Charleston, I highly encourage you to visit. It is such a gorgeous city, and there's so much rich history here and things to do. Over the course of the summer, I intend to take you out and about with me, and we will explore Charleston. I am almost at summer vacation. When you see this, I'll have probably 3.5 weeks of school left before summer vacation starts. And I will be taking you with me as we go out and around and explore Charleston. Oh goodness, just a big clap of thunder. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but we are about to get a thunderstorm. I hope we get some rain. We are in a terrible drought here, so I'm really hoping that it does rain. My plants desperately need it. Okay,
back to the book. So in this book, Liz Talbot is a private investigator, and she's married to Nate, who is also a private eye. They have their own business. And they originally had their office in the upstate of South Carolina in Greenville, but they're expanding into the Low Country. And in this book, she has to solve the mystery of a very, gentle and genteel professor who is accused of pushing his wife out of the second-story balcony of their downtown Charleston home. And his wife comes from a very well-known, very influential, and very wealthy Charleston family. And Liz and her husband, Nate, are tasked with investigating this crime. And it turns out that the woman who was a big volunteer at one of the local charities was also involved in a book club. So not only is it a cozy mystery that takes place in Charleston, but it is a cozy Charleston bookish mystery. That checks all the boxes for me. So I am thoroughly enjoying this. I've read one other book in this series, and I hope to read several more. It is really excellent. They all start with the word Low Country. So it'll be like Low Country Bonfire, Low Country something, and this is Low Country Book Club. So this is a 5-star book for me. I absolutely love this book. Okay, moving on. The third and final cozy mystery for this book chat is by Donna Andrews, and it is Murder Most Fowl. And fowl is spelled F-O-W-L. And here's the cover of it. So I'm sure you can guess that chickens or some kind of bird, poultry, features prominently in this book. So I am just starting this book. I'm excited to read it. It is a Meg Lanslow mystery, and the book description of it I thought sounded really fun. It said Meg Langslow's In for a Busy Summer. And by the way, all of these books take place in the summer, which is why I chose them, because we are heading into summer. So if you're looking for some good beach reads and so forth, these are excellent choices. So Meg Lanslow's in for a busy summer. Her husband is directing a production of Macbeth, and most of the cast and crew are occupying spare bedrooms in their house. She also has to keep an eye on Camp Burnham, where a group of medieval reenactors are commemorating the real-life Macbeth by setting up what they fondly believe is an authentic medieval Scottish military camp. It goes on to say and then there's Damien Goodwin, a filmmaker who has been hanging around trying to document that production. When Goodwin hosts a showing of some of the footage he's taken, he manages to embarrass or offend just about everyone. The next morning, Meg isn't exactly surprised to find out that someone has murdered him. So I will have to give you an update on this, but I'm excited to read it. I mean, it takes place in the summer. There's a medieval festival, a production of Macbeth. It all sounds very intriguing, and I'll be excited to see how the fowl play into this book. So those are my 3 cozy mystery books. Now, I'm also going to share with you a couple of other books that are nonfiction, 2 cookbooks and 2 decorating books. I recently ordered and received this book from an online kind of secondhand bookshop called Thrift Books. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they have great prices and they have a huge selection of books. And it is called The Paris Apartment, and it is by Claudia Strasser. I'm sorry for the glare. I am going to put some pictures of the contents of this book up on the screen as I talk about it, because it is a fabulous book all about Parisian style, or Paris apartment. You know, my sister Patty and I were just talking on the phone today, and we were kind of trying to talk about what is our, decor style, what type of home decor do we love. And we decided that I really like that kind of European farmhouse look, like a French farmhouse, an English farmhouse, just a European farmhouse with lots of wicker, natural elements, textiles, color, but not like over the top color, china, woods, whites, linens, that kind of thing. And our sister-in-law, Jen, who's married to our brother Danny, she has a phenomenal house they have a phenomenal house in Vermont, but she has decorated it and she has incredible taste. And hers is really like Paris apartment meets French farmhouse. Someday, either myself or Patty will have to get to Jen's house and give you a tour of it. It's saturated with beautiful colors. She has, a huge, long, rustic dining table, but big, giant pieces of art, safari themed things. I mean, it's so eclectic, but so beautiful and collected. It looks so very collected and curated that I am excited to feature it on the channel. I'll have to talk to Patty. If I don't get up to Vermont this summer, maybe she can get down to East Dorset where Danny and Jen live and just do a tour of her house, because it really is, it's just something, it's a sight to behold. It is beautiful. She has great taste. And she is half French, so and she's a French teacher, and she grew up part of her life in France and frequently visits France, and her parents have a home there. So anyway, she's Paris apartment, and we decided that I am French farmhouse. So, but speaking of Paris apartment, that is the name of this book, and it is by Claudia Strasser, as I said, and it's just really an homage to decorating and creating beauty using secondhand finds. Now, of course, her secondhand finds come from the Paris flea market, so they look a little bit different than what's available in my local Goodwill. However, she does talk a lot about incorporating those secondhand finds, and her philosophy is, if it has to be in your home, why not make it beautiful? Even the mundane can be beautiful. If you have paper clips, keep them in a beautiful trinket box or a gorgeous porcelain teacup. If you have herbs and spices, keep them in lovely jars. Have gorgeous textiles on your bed. Use a cloth napkin and beautiful china like I'm using, and you can get all of these things secondhand. And that is her philosophy. And I have to say, that resonates very strongly with me. I feel that when I look around my house, I want to see beauty everywhere I look. And if it's going to be in my house, even if it's functional, why not make it beautiful? And she talks a lot about, how it shows different apartments where people have done that. Now, this book is actually, let me see when it was first published. It's not a new book. Let me see if it does have a publication date. Okay, 1997, okay? So, it's, what does that make it? 25 years old, 20, what are we, 20? I can't do my math. Almost 30 years old, right? So some of the, the prices and things that she talks about, of course, would be different now, but the concepts are the same. There's no reason not to make things in your life beautiful, and not to make every little moment that you can beautiful. Now, we're not always obviously capable of doing that, but I have my Walker shortbread, which are from a box, not made by me, but I love them because look at how cute these are. They have little thistles on them. I love anything with a thistle on it, and they're my favorite box cookies. But I'm eating them off of, and I'll set these down and show you this gorgeous little plate I thrifted recently. I haven't shared them in a haul yet, but it's a Paragon plate, Paragon china, and it's just so beautiful. And I have a beautiful linen napkin that I thrifted, and I'm drinking not out of a thrifted mug, but out of my favorite Emma Bridgewater mug with my lovely Cavalier King Charles Spaniel on it. So you can, in your life, just make a small effort, and even a very small expenditure, and you can create beauty in every aspect of your life. And I think that's really what she's saying. It's called Romantic Decor on a Flea Market Budget, a Paris Apartment. So as I said, hopefully I've remembered to pop up some pictures on the screen of what she talks about in some of the photographs. They're beautiful photographs all throughout the book, just of gorgeous, you know, finds, and very opulent in some cases, of different Paris apartments that she visits, and in fact her own apartment. And actually the Paris apartment, I believe, still is, if it's not a physical building shop in New York City, they have an online presence. But here's a beautiful bed made with absolutely stunning linens. So I was excited to get this book. I think I paid less than $10 for it used from Thrift Books. And this is something that I will keep out on my coffee table and just look at over and over and over. It's just so inspirational and just lovely to look at. Another decorating book that I checked out of my library is Charles Faudre's A Country French Living. And look what's on the cover. A King Charles. Looks just like my little Phoebe. Yes, it does. And of course, you know, Charles Faudre was a very well-known designer and decorator. And this book is also just absolute eye candy. And I will try to put up some pictures on the screen of some of the interiors that he has designed. Everything from super duper fancy to more subdued and rustic, but his use of textiles and colors and how he combines them is just magic. And my house is not anywhere near as, you know, opulent and elegant as some of these houses, but there are always little things that you can find, little ideas that you can glean, even if it's just how something is set up on a coffee table or the way some books and knickknacks are arranged on a shelf. You know, you can always find some little bit of inspiration. I remember my mom saying that, like when she's looking through a magazine, she'll find little details, something that she can take away and replicate in her own home. She has a rack on the end of her counter, and she keeps like her paper plates and her napkins, and it's just like a little wire rack, a double-decker kind of wire rack. And I said to her, Mom, that's so clever. How did you think of that? And she said, you know, I saw it in a magazine. So you can just take a little bit of inspiration. You know, obviously not all of us can have a Faudre interior, but all of us can think about a color combination like that beautiful arrangement of cabbageware and white plates on the hutch. You know, so green and white, or these lovely neutral colors. Just, you know, a color combination you may not have thought about. When I made my how to dress French chic, when I was going through Pinterest, I remember seeing several pictures of Kelly green and leopard print together, a combination I never would have thought to put together, but I loved it. Same thing goes for, you know, looking through a decorator book. We can't recreate exactly the interior, or at least I can't. Maybe you can, but there are some little nuggets that we can glean from looking at those pictures and take, you know, and put to use in our own homes. And that's why I love to look at magazines and decorating books. It just sometimes can give you a fresh perspective on color combinations or use of florals or books and so forth. In fact, I'm not sure if you'll see this video first or my summer decor video. I think you'll see this one first, but I'm going to be putting out a video about, you know, my summer decor inspiration and sharing with you some things that I found on Pinterest, and then showing you how I'm taking those ideas and incorporating them into my own home to, you know, for my summer decor. Now, I don't go crazy, but I do love to change things up at the seasons. And who doesn't love some good red, white, and blue and patriotic decor in the summer? So be on the lookout for that. Okay, the next book I want to share with you, these next two books, I literally picked up today. I was at the Goodwill bins looking for books for that upcoming video that I just talked to you about. And I found two cookbooks. The first one is Ina Garten, The Barefoot Contessa. It's called Foolproof. I love her cookbooks. Her recipes are very accessible. They're usually easy. And in fact, this one is called Foolproof. So let's hope it is. Let me just look. I haven't even really looked too closely at it, but I do love her cookbooks and her recipes. Hot smoked salmon is one in here that I just opened up to. They don't usually have lots of strange or lots of just ingredients in general. They have, a normal amount of ingredients and nothing usually too outrageous. And they're usually very, very easy to follow. Ooh, balsamic roasted beet salad. Now that is speaking my language. I love balsamic and I love beets and I love salad. And it looks like there's either goat cheese or feta in it, either of which I love. So that's definitely something I think I'll be making. And speaking of salads, actually, Patty and I were talking recently, and we thought we would start a summer salad series, sharing summer salad recipes. And as a little twist, we are going to be asking all of you to send us recipes of your favorite summer salads. It can be anything from a pasta salad to a dessert salad to a green salad, whatever kind of salad, potato salad. We're going to ask that you send us your favorite salad recipes, and we will make them and share them with all of you. And of course, give you credit for it and leave your recipe in the description box. So we thought that would be just a really fun series to have going over the summer. So be on the lookout for the announcement about that. I would say we will probably start that somewhere around the last week of May. In fact, if you have a favorite summer salad recipe, go ahead and email it to us at relativelyrefined@gmail.com. I'll put the email address right down here on the screen. Go ahead and send it in, and we can get started over Memorial Day weekend, because that's a big summer salad. It's the kickoff to summer, so it would be really fun to start gathering those recipes, and then we will each week try to feature one of these summer salads from our friends and viewers. Okay, one last book to share, and this is a cookbook I actually already own. And I shared it in a video I did way back when we first started the channel, sharing my vintage cookbook collection. And it is the Betty Crocker's new Boys and Girls Cookbook. This is the first cookbook I ever owned. We cut out box tops. We cut out a box top from Cheerios and sent in a check, mailed it in, and my mother ordered this for me, and I still have it. It's actually right behind me. Mine is falling to pieces from use. And when I saw this in the bins, I know the next stop after the bins is the landfill. I could not leave it there. So I grabbed this book, and it's so fun. I mean, it's got, here's a salad. Let's see what this is. This is Fruit Basket Upset. It looks like a Southern grape salad to me. But it's just it was so fun to see this there. And this is actually in much better condition than mine is. So I had to grab that. I couldn't let that go to the landfill. Well, friends, that is what I have for you today with regard to my book recommendations and a little mini book haul. I hope you enjoyed the tour of the Timrod Library in Summerville. It really is the most darling little library, and it was so fun to go in there, and brought back such great memories of going to the Mark Skinner Library in Manchester, Vermont when I was a little girl. So I hope you all are doing well. I hope you get lots and lots of time to read. If you have any cozy mystery suggestions for me, leave them in the description box below. Leave me not the description box, the comments. Leave me a comment with those recommendations. Be sure to email us with your favorite summer salad recipes so that we can feature them in an upcoming video. And Take good care of yourself in the meantime. I will see you in a video very soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for spending some time with me today. I'll leave a few more videos on the screen for you to watch until our next upload. All right, take care everyone. I'll see you soon.